So we're joined today by an incredible Against the Current after a run of festivals across Europe, including Slam Dunk, Rock and Ring. They're headlining tonight at Gorilla, and we've joined them backstage. Welcome to Manchester.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Both. And so it's a little bit of symmetry. You're here towards the end of this tour.
Yeah.
7 months ago, towards the end of your world tour, you were literally over the road at the O2.
Yeah.
Sold it out there.
Yeah.
So welcome back.
Thank you.
That was a great gig, by the way.
Oh, you were there?
I was there. Yeah, so many times, thankfully. So
that's awesome.
I know what to expect tonight.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So your first show back after a few months off was at Slam Dunk. How did you feel going into that?
It was crazy for us because not only was it 6 months off, which is, one of the longest stretches that we tend to have off from playing any show at all, but also we have a lot of new crew, and a lot of those crew we only met literally the day of Slam Dunk because they're a UK crew and we were in the US and we rehearsed in the US. So it was like pretty much a fire drill to try and get it all, but it was amazing. And it was our first Slam Dunk and the crowd was awesome. And we just had a great experience.
Fantastic. And obviously you've done a few other festivals. Tonight you're doing quite an intimate gig at Gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
And mentioned the world tour was at venues like the O2 Bits. So they're quite different in terms of size and the atmosphere. Do you have a preference for the type of gig you prefer to do?
I like a big club show or like small theater.
Yeah, I think this tour in particular is even more. There's just such a big difference between we're going from like massive festival stages to like, and then the only way that we could add headliners in was to do some of these kind of intimate shows like this. So it's so funny going between the two. But the cool thing about shows like this is that it's really because they sell out so quickly and it's pretty last minute that we put them on sale. It's only really the people that want to be there are there. So you don't kind of have the odd person who's like, oh yeah, I'll go see Against the Current. Like I've been maybe wanting to see them. It's like everyone that shows up wanted to be there, which is a really good atmosphere for a show. And that's the kind of atmosphere that it doesn't matter if it's 50 people, 5,000 people, 50,000 people. That's, the atmosphere you want. Because you could play a massive show, and if the people aren't like diehard, which luckily we don't really have that problem ever in Manchester. Manchester's awesome, but it's been really cool playing these kind of shows where everyone's just really showing up.
But what goes into it in terms of preparation when you're doing such of varied shows with changing with set list, especially from festival show to headline show? Are you going to change things up? What goes into preparation?
So for this, we kind of just have like the headline set, and then we kind of just like abbreviated that and trimmed the kind of like lower energy moments, or just so it's just like full high energy for like the festival sets. So it hasn't been that difficult, really.
It was pretty I think that it's like kind of, we've had different festival set lengths. It's anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour and a little bit. And then the headliner is about an hour and a half. So, but I think it's really, it's been pretty easy. Like it's obvious which songs don't make sense at the festivals, especially for people who don't know us. So it's actually not been too bad to trim. And it's kind of obvious, it's like, all right, this set is 55 minutes. It's easy to know which two songs to add back in type thing.
Cool. I mean, you mentioned the set list there, and I've got a set list from a gig you did about 9 years ago.
Oh my God.
Manchester Academy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, I was looking at the set list and full of great material, and you've got more great material now. I imagine trimming it down for a headliner show itself will still be quite difficult. How do you decide what's going to make the cuts?
It is hard now, and especially because it kind of feels sometimes like there's two Against the Currents. Like there's this poppier Against the Current and this rockier Against the Current. Especially now that we've had like an album like Past Lives has a lot of pop, but even In Our Bones has a lot of poppier moments with songs like Runaway, One More Weekend, Forget Me Now. So it's kind of, I think we're leaning a little bit more into the rockier, heavier side of us. Which kind of then makes it easier to trim out some of those. Like, all right, we're going to take out some of the songs that are maybe the more dancey songs. It'd be nice to bring some of those back, though, in the future. But it is funny, like, we just played Rock am Ring, for example, in Germany. If you look at our Rock am Ring set in Germany 5 years ago, it's just totally different. There's, like, almost no overlap between the two sets, which is such a crazy thing to see. But, yeah, so I think, especially for these kind of, like, small gig shows, you just really want those, like, gritty, fun songs. So that's kind of how we've been trimming it down.
Cool. And you mentioned there's sort of two sides of Against the Current there.
Yeah.
Was that something that happened organically, or did you decide, let's push in a certain direction?
I think we've always had our foot in both worlds. We love like all music. You know, we're like our own personal music tastes are really diverse. I think it was just more so when we went to do Past Lives, that was a much bigger push in a pop direction. And it just didn't resonate the same way, like as an album in total. So I think when we went to do Fever, we leaned a little bit more into the rockier side with like Weapon and That Won't Save Us and again. And that really resonated. So I think it's, even when you're building a set, when you know you have to put Weapon in again and again in the set, and then when you try and look at like matching that up with something like Pretty All the Time, it's just harder to, you know, have transitions in and out of those moments. So I think that kind of just let us be doing that. But who knows what we'll do, you know, in the future.
Yeah, and you mentioned songs that resonate. Is there one that sticks out for each of you whilst you're on stage, one that you particularly look forward to doing, or one that means something more to you?
I think for me, Weapon is always one of those moments, especially it's a song we close with. It's a song that's like extremely personal and like close to my heart for multiple reasons. The content of the song, but also the time and place and how we recorded that song. And then I think it's always a moment in the bridge when I hold the mic out and let the fans kind of scream those words back. And it's really powerful. It's like made me tear up on stage many times. So that's always a moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Weapon, or even playing some of the older ones is fun. Just for some of the fans have been around for a long time now, so it's Sailing. It's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun to play. We're playing a song off our first EP on this tour that we haven't played in like probably, I don't know, like 8 years or something like that. So that song is really fun to play. Something You Need off Infinity. And like that's probably like my favorite song to play in the set right now.
Fantastic. Good. And you've done now toured to UK a few times, you've done world tours, and you know, when I look at you guys on tour, you never go for like 2 or 3 dates. You're always gone for a all the time in one stretch. What keeps you going whilst you're on the road?
It's tough. It's one of those things where we just never thought about it, I think. You know, there was a point where we were really touring ourselves into the ground because we just didn't know there was another option. I don't think people realize how difficult it is being in a band. You can't, just because it's your own band doesn't really mean you could just take all the time you want. Otherwise, you won't get anywhere. So it's really hard to find that balance of touring enough to grow and to make a living and also not burn yourself out completely. It's something we're working on. With this run in particular, we have a lot more off days than usual. So that definitely helps. But yeah, sometimes I honestly think it's really just, you just do it. You don't really think about it too much. You're not like, oh, how am I going to get through the day? It's like, the day's going to pass no matter what. At the end of the day, you're going to get on stage, you're going to play the show, you're going to go to sleep, you're going to wake up tomorrow. So just don't think too much about it on a day-to-day basis.
No, yeah, that is true. The more you think about it, the harder it is.
Yeah.
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 Is there a memory that's going to stick with you from this tour, whether it's on stage, backstage, on a tour bus, in a city you visited?
There's a lot. We've never had this many off days. We've had a lot of adventures in nature and stuff, and also just playing all these festivals for the first time. Some of them were in incredible like locations. So like I don't even know. We were parked in like a park in Germany for like a couple days, and we had like those little scooters that you rent.
Yeah.
And we were just tearing it up, off-roading all over this place. So that was really fun.
But cool. One of the things I particularly love about you guys is you mix things up quite a bit, whether it's collabs, standalone singles, merch drops, pop-up merch days, and live streaming gigs. Is there anything we've got in mind to do something a bit different again, live album or something completely different?
Yeah, I think honestly, those are all the kind of things that we would love to do, and it's just kind of figuring out. I think it's all going to be around the next body of work, like the next album is when we're going to have the most fun, because this will be our first it'll be our first full length album that we've ever done independently, as of right now at least. So it'll be interesting because we'll just have a lot more freedom to kind of do things like the pop-up and vinyl, you know, all those like silly little things that people are like, why have you never done those? And sometimes in the past it was just because we weren't allowed to, we couldn't, you know, it wasn't our choice. So it'll be really fun to see how we can get creative going forward in the next era.
Perfect. Can you tell us anything about a new album?
I don't have anything to sell yet.
Okay. Cool. Well, I can guarantee there'll be lots of people looking forward to it. I personally can't wait for it. Thanks so much for your time
Thank you.
today. Good luck with the show tonight. Sure, be amazing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for talking to us.